You ever try scoring on a guy whose arms feel like they belong to an entirely different species?
He was so long, it was tough for me to get my shot off.
The most feared guy in Boston.
That was Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale. What a move by McHale.
He's got the best post moves in all of basketball.
Kevin was as good as anybody I've ever seen.
They were calling him a man of 1,000 moves.
Torture chamber.
One of the great power forwards.
To NBA legends, he wasn't just a problem.
Kevin McHale is the best player I played against.
He had too much stuff on the box. Could not guard him one-on-one on the box.
The dude had the longest wingspan ever recorded for a power forward. Once he got you on the block, it was like trying to stop a spider with a post game. But don't just take it from us. Let's hear what the legends who actually faced him have to say. Let's start with someone who's watched decades of NBA greatness and still couldn't believe what he saw from McHale.
Kevin McHale was a sensational post-up player. 6'10" and blessed with arms so long that people often joked he could tie his shoes without bending over. He had every post move in the book. The jump hook, the up and under, the reverse lay-in, the fade away. McHale was simply unstoppable on the block. So much so that in the 1986-87 season, he averaged 26 points a game while shooting 60% from the floor and 80% from the line. You know how many NBA players have averaged 20 or more points, shot 60% from the floor and 80% from the stripe in the same season? One! Kevin McHale.
McHale didn't need to scream for the spotlight. He just put up numbers that broke the calculator. But the magic of McHale wasn't just in his stats. It was in the way he thought the game, the way he lures you in like a magician with a bad back. Just ask someone who shared the floor with him and lived to tell the tale, the one and only Bill Walton.
This guy's mind, his creative imagination, his skill set, his footwork, his touch, his shooting, and then his trash talking. It was just absolutely incredible.
It was like guarding a math problem with a sense of humor.
Marker.
The Converse weapon, that's the shoe, that's Magic do what he was born to do. That may be so, but that's not all. They let Isaiah play like he's 10 feet tall.
Mr. Director, we need a new script because we're getting awfully tired of doing that.
McHale would twist, spin, pause, and whisper something clever while dropping 2 points on your head.
McHale is 3 for 3 from Larry Bird.
His footwork belonged on a ballroom floor, his brain in a chess hall, and yet he used both to terrorize defenders in the paint.
60%, and he has only missed 2 shots tonight. McHale answers it.
Celtics are going to stay with what got him here. 2 more.
And just when you thought you'd seen every post move under the sun, Kevin McHale would invent a new one mid-spin.
What a move by McHale. He tried to go to...
Shaw Powell didn't just admire McHale's game. He believed McHale authored the entire low-post playbook.
Kevin McHale, meanwhile, wrote the textbook on low-post play. I mean, with the footwork, the soft touch around the rim, the hook shot, he had it all in his bag. Also, he had long arms. As a matter of fact, if I had his arms, I could shake your hand from sitting in this chair. He grew to be 6'10", and when you put that combination together, it was lethal. Low post plays, step back, 15-foot jump shot. Charles Barkley said he was the toughest guy he ever had to play in the NBA.
Kevin McHale's the best player I ever played against. I felt like he was unguardable offensively.
McHale didn't rely on brute strength. He danced in the paint with elegance, backed it up with balance, and finished you off with finesse. Add in a wingspan that made defenders look like they were reaching with T-Rex arms, and you had a player who could score over anyone from anywhere with his eyes closed. Long arms, longer memory. That's the image McHale left on defenders. A walking mismatch who tormented opponents for 13 seasons, anchoring one of the most iconic front lines in NBA history, alongside Larry Bird and Robert Parrish. And speaking of defenders in pain, let's bring in the man who built a career off bruising bodies in the paint, but still admits there was one guy who had his number. Charles Barkley kept it brutally honest.
Who was the guy that you knew you were going to have you couldn't wait to face?
I will tell you this. I hated Kevin McHale because he's the best player I ever played against. He's the one guy who was so much bigger than me with his long arms and his great moves. I had a difficult time guarding him. And then on the other end, he was so long. He was so long. It was tough for me to get my shot off if I had to face him up.
My personal nemesis is Kevin McHale, because he's the best player I ever played against. You could not stop him. I've always said that you could not stop that guy. And on the other end, I had to use every ounce of energy I did to score on him. That guy, when I looked at, because we all look at the schedule, we're like, okay, I can have some fun that night. Better get a good night's sleep that night. I mean, we all say the same thing about different guys, but Kevin McHale is the best player I played against.
That's coming from Sir Charles, a man who fought Shaq, boxed out Karl Malone, and went toe-to-toe with some of the roughest bigs in NBA history, but couldn't figure out how to deal with a 6'10" power forward who looked like Slender Man in a Celtics jersey. But Kevin McHale wasn't just a nightmare for big men. Even the high flyers, the slashing wings, the legends who thrived on speed and grace, they feared him too. Just ask one of the game's most iconic legends, Dr. J himself. Julius Erving didn't just battle McHale, he survived him. And his words speak volumes.
He was a tremendous opponent to have too, with those big square shoulders, and as awkward as he might have seemed sometimes on the court, he always knew where he was going and he knew what he was doing. And he was probably the most feared guy in Boston by the 76ers. We played them. I knew if I beat Bird or Maxwell, McHale was going to beat him. Kevin wasn't afraid to take a shot at you. He was a critical piece to the puzzle, and there were many nights when he was the MVP in Boston.
So they're working on him. Celtics have turned the ball over 5 times. 8-point lead. Cheeks goes around 2. Block. Bobby Jones into Cheeks. Block to back world championships. Bantam has a shot blocked by McHale. Even at him. Irving blocked by McHale.
You get out there, you have this wingspan. I might as well just take a jump shot. He's all the way down here.
Julius blocked by McHale.
When the Celtics needed a bucket or a stop, or just someone to deliver a bruising message in the paint, it was McHale who stepped up. But his impact wasn't just in the way he scored or defended. It was how he made the game feel like a puzzle, and he always had the answer key. John Sally, a defensive specialist himself, gave McHale credit most players reserve for coaches.
Kevin McHale taught me more about basketball, I would say, than any big man coach. The way he would move his body, lean, you ever see, it looks like his body is halfway leaned over and halfway down, but his head is up here. It's just a weird look. And how he would spin, catch you, make you go up, lean under you, get under you, make you foul. Once he caught the ball, you were at his mercy. So, the best.
That's the perfect way to describe it.
Good fake. Got you.
His moves looked like they were stitched together in slow motion, but they always landed before you could react. Once he got the ball in his spot, it wasn't a question of if he'd scored, it was how.
Called Kevin a long time ago the black hole. Once it goes in, it never comes back out.
And sometimes McHale's dominance wasn't just technical. It was personal.
I feel I can stop Kevin McHale. He's tough, but you got to know how to play him.
On the parquet, McHale, what a move inside.
Well, Kevin Willis is going to need some help defensively on the low post.
Mike Fratello wishes.
McHale, foul, basket count.
It felt like he was holding a masterclass in humiliation, and everyone else was the unpaid volunteer. Isaiah Thomas tells the story best, the night McHale turned Detroit's front line into his personal science project.
So one night we're playing against the Celtics, and McHale really has it going, and he's torching our power forwards, Kent Benson, Earl Cureton, and finally he started saying he's got these guys in the torture chamber. So every time they would enter the basketball into him, he would holler, chamber, like, you know, he got him in a torture chamber, and, you know, it's too late. So I was coming back to double team, and he was looking down at me shooting like, you're too late, there's nothing you can do about this.
Torture chamber. McHale made it sound like a game, but it wasn't a game to the poor soul stuck trying to guard him. And he wasn't even starting half the time. By the end of his career, McHale had embraced the sixth man role and still managed to make teammates and opponents shake their heads in disbelief. D. Brown remembers what it was like as a young player walking into the Celtics locker room, only to see McHale chilling on the sidelines like it was recess.
He had a routine. Shoot around, he would sit on the sideline. And Larry was screaming like, Kevin, get your butt up and have a shoot around. And he would tell everybody, hey, do you want it now at 10 o'clock or do you want it at 7 o'clock? You tell me which one you want. I'll only give it to you once a day. It's okay. I'm like, I can't say that. I'm a rookie. You know, I can't say that, you know?
Only McHale could trash talk like that in practice and still back it up. He wasn't just effective, he was efficient. And when your own teammates are telling you to brace yourself because he only gives it to you once, you know you're dealing with something different. A monster. He didn't need speed. He didn't need flash. He had angles, arms, and a mind that ran circles around defenders before his feet ever did. From awkward-looking spin moves to the most refined footwork in NBA history, he made the post his playground, and every defender was just another guest in the torture chamber. But what makes his legacy so unforgettable isn't just the titles or the numbers. It's the universal respect from every corner of the league. But McHale wasn't just the only one torturing defenders. Oh no, there was another beast who didn't just defend, he devoured. So, don't go anywhere. Hit play on this next video. NBA legends explain why Dennis Rodman was a monster.